on March 11th, 2011. It's written by a Japanese concert pianist who is not a composer, but when that huge earthquake happened and the tsunami on top of it, outside the coast of Japan on March 11th, 2011, he wrote this piece for the victims of that earthquake and tsunami. It starts in a minor key and then moves to a major key. And since that's what Peilin's talk today is about, is starting in a dark minor place and moving to a major resolution of things, it seemed appropriate to play this today. So I was asked to give you that story.
Thank you, Phyllis. That was just beautiful. Good morning. Welcome to Unity of Bloomington. It's good to have you here. My name is Jonna Capio, and I'll be your service leader for today. We are a heart-centered community seeking spiritual awakening and transformation by deepening our connections with God, self, and others. Our God is love, our race is human, and our faith is oneness. Let's get up and sing our welcome song.
the things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thoughts. I have the power to change my life. If you ask me who am I am wisdom, I am light. I am more than meets the eye. I cannot be defined. I am the thinker who thinks the thoughts that changes the things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thoughts. I have the power to change my life. I can choose to be the light that brightens someone's darkest night. I'm so much more than meets the eye. I cannot be defined. I am the thinker who thinks the thoughts that changes the things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thoughts. I have the power to change my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought that changes the things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thoughts. I have the power to change my life. I have the power to change my life. I have the power to change my life.
Woo! Now let's take a minute and go ahead and greet our neighbors. And when you hear the music, go ahead and come on back to your seats.
To be grateful, so grateful. Today I choose to be grateful, grateful. Today I choose to be grateful, so grateful. Today I choose to be grateful, grateful. Whatever I choose is how my day's gonna be. I claim what I want, 'cause it's all up to me. Today I choose to be loving, so loving. Today I choose to be loving, loving. Today I choose to be loving, so loving. Today I choose to be loving, loving. Whatever I choose is how my day's gonna be. I claim what I want, 'cause it's all up to me. It's all up to me. Today I choose to be peaceful, so peaceful. Today I choose to be peaceful, peaceful. Today I choose to be peaceful, so peaceful. Today I choose to be peaceful, peaceful. To be peaceful, peaceful. To be peaceful, peaceful.
Wow, really great to have those drums, Ginger. Most of you know that we are here at Unity of Bloomington are going through a big change. We are currently between settled ministers, and as such, we are community-led, community-fed right now. So we have a transition affirmation that we use to set our intention to attract our abundant future. So if you would please say this with me and all together, I would really appreciate it. Unity of Bloomington is generating an abundant future in a sense of alignment with Spirit. We lean deeply into truth principles, live our faith, and trust the process. Our greatest desire is to be abundant and attract those who value spiritual growth, including our next right minister. So now we're ready for some musical inspiration by our wonderful Unity Dream Team.
Hush, my child, I heard the voice say from the dark night of my soul. Things are not as bad as they seem. You are stronger than you know.
You call on me to help you, and it's already done. Everything I am, you are. The battle has been won.
You are not weak. You are not helpless. You are not fear. You are not judgment. You are whole. You are worthy. You are the way of God. The way of God. Deep in my own heart, I've found the strength and the courage to go on. When I faced my fears, I could see they were all just illusion.
I want to make the difference. I want to be the way. Now when I want to turn and run, I hear myself say,
You are not weak. You are not helpless. You are not fear. You are not judgment. You are whole. You are worthy. You are the way of God. Stretch your heart until it reaches. Every master teacher teaches. There's only been the way to pieces. The way of God. So when the path before you seems too much to take, just remember who you are. Take a breath and say,
I am not weak.
I am not weak.
I am not helpless.
I am not helpless.
I am not fear.
I am not fear.
I am not judgment.
I am not judgment.
I am whole.
I am whole.
I am worthy.
I am worthy.
I am the way of God.
I am the way of God. I am not weak.
judgment.
I am not judgment.
I am whole.
I am whole.
I am worthy.
I am worthy.
I am the way of God.
I am the way of God. I am the way of God.
How beautiful. I am the way of God. Thank you. So I am honored to introduce Peilin Chiu to you today. Her sacred journey to wholeness story is a story with parts we can all relate to. Pei's journey is about her learning to embrace her many life crises despite her resistance, fears, and pain. Her wholeness story demonstrates how spirit guides the personal and the personal ends up serving spirit. Mystics and seers have been telling us all along that when we start living openly, intentionally, and with humility, the process of transformation takes hold. And it is through this process, sometimes really dark and hard, that we learn not only who we are, but why, and how we are connected to all that is. Currently, Peilin Chiu is a certified Integrative Nutrition Health Coach, a certified Bioenergetic Health practitioner, and a cookbook author. Her life mission is to help people reconnect with our best doctor within each one of us. But she began life very differently. Peilin Chiu spent the first 30 years of her life in Taiwan with a smooth and successful existence. After a move to the middle of the United States, to Bloomington, Indiana, unexpected challenges appeared. She took the Chinese phrase, crisis is opportunity, to heart, and has experienced a great deal of healing and personal growth while dealing with dark days of physical discomfort and great loss. So today, Peilin shares her inspiring story and the role that Unity people and principles have played on her journey. Pei?
Good morning. My name is Peilin Chiu. In Chinese, it says Qiu Peilin. Peilin, my first name, are actually two words. Pei means to admire, and Ling means beautiful, pleasant sound. My father named me Peilin for the sound and the auspicious number of strikes in writing. I've been on a journey of wellness and natural healing since the year 2000. My health challenges and my baby girl's cancer diagnosis led me onto this path. As Jana mentioned earlier, the old Chinese saying, crisis is opportunity, really sums up my journey. While very unpleasant, I've experienced the most healing and personal growth during the dark days of dealing with physical discomfort and great loss. I would like to give you a bit about my upbringing in Taiwan. I was born in the 1960s as the fourth child of 5 siblings, and I was raised in one of these family compounds. The one I lived in actually was bigger than this one, with another structure like that attached to the back. This environment was key to shaping my childhood. The housing was home to 4 3-generation homes. led by my grandfather and his 3 brothers, my great-uncles. Each household has 15 to 20 people, and there were 13 nuclear families. So I grew up not just with my own siblings, but also dozens of cousins, 35 of us in total. 6 of us were the same age. So my father was a local government official, and my mom had to tend to many household chores as the wife of the oldest son in the family. But I never felt lonely growing up, even though they were so busy and they didn't have to really pay close attention to us. We had very little money for toy or play equipment, so we made our own. And the nature provided us with all sorts of adventures. I remember following my older siblings and cousins, playing water in the harvested rice field, barbecuing by the mountain creek in the summer, and roasting sweet potato in the beach sand, or harvesting each other's fruit trees among friends. Since middle school, I had wanted to be a journalist. Later, I got accepted into the best journalism school in Taiwan, and eventually landed a reporting job in the largest newspaper group there. And during my 10 years of reporting, I was awarded 3 times as the outstanding reporter. So life at this point, when I was 32, seemed all good and exhilarating. I wasn't prepared for what was going to happen after I moved across the Pacific to Bloomington in 1999. I was following my husband, who took a IU tenure-track position. Then 4 crises happened for me as I built a new life in Bloomington. The first crisis came pretty soon after I landed in Bloomington. My visa didn't allow me to work, so I volunteered at the community services in Bloomington Hospital. And that's where I met Jonna Capio. She became my first friend in Bloomington, my spiritual mentor, and a benefactor when I hit the rock bottom in life. So while I was very excited to explore my life in Bloomington, the years of stress prior to my move, combined with the newfound convenient foods, didn't go well for my body. I already had digestive issues due to the stress and the frequent use of antibiotic in my reporting years. Now, combined with the newly available cheese and dairies and those dinner rolls and biscuit that twisted out of a paper can, and the frozen party treats, the microwavable meals, all these exotic processed food that were not part of my diet gave me health challenges. I started having seasonal allergies and an intestinal issue that gave me excruciating pain and inconvenience after eating. I had infective symptoms that couldn't be confirmed by tests and wouldn't go away with antibiotics. Then chemical sensitivity and food intolerance. I've seen multiple specialists and gone through major medical workups. None of them could decide or find anything wrong with me. Yet I was prescribed with all kinds of drugs and continued to struggle without much help. I eventually got fed up with all the doctor visits and prescription drugs. I decided to take the healing into my own hands. I eliminated processed food, refined sugar, and dairy. I make green juice every day, exercise regularly, and I threw in occasional juice fasts, green juice fasts. Miraculously, pretty much all of my symptoms disappeared within 2 months. I was overjoyed and never wavered the power of food since then, for the past 23 years. Crisis is indeed opportunity. While I was going through my ordeal, Jana was also trying to create a healthier diet. She told me the only way she cooked vegetable was to put them in the microwave. So I volunteered to show her how to do Asian stir fries, which is very quick and convenient too, during her lunch breaks. These mini cooking lessons eventually blossomed into my cooking classes 10 years later. After resolving those health challenges and feeling much better, I became pregnant. Our daughter, Vivian, was born a healthy baby in 2002. Soon the second crisis struck. Vivian was diagnosed with leukemia at 5 months old. Our world has turned upside down. And after fighting for 4 years, she succumbed to the force of cancer, its grueling treatments and irreversible complications. She was 4.5 when she died. After I tried to find out where Vivian went in the afterlife, I rediscovered my true self. I wasn't spiritual then, but I was desperately trying to find solace to ease my grief. Buddhism came naturally, but I didn't find it comforting at all at that time because of my misunderstanding of karma and reincarnation. I thought I must have done something terrible in my previous lives to have my daughter taken away in this life. Soon thereafter, I found out I was pregnant again. It was bittersweet, comforting and scary at the same time. I couldn't stop imagining the what-ifs. Those 9 months was emotional roller coaster ride. And then the stress from those difficult years finally caught up on me. When our second baby, Ian, was a toddler, I became constantly anxious, jittery, and nauseated. My intestinal issues came back. I cried and exploded easily. I couldn't sleep and didn't have energy to care for Ian. Meanwhile, my husband's artistic career was taking off. He worked very hard and tried to help out around the house as much as he could, but he was constantly out of town or country, showing his artwork. I didn't have others to lean on when he was away. I found myself taking out on Ian and my husband quite often. I hated myself so much, and he thought that I've changed into a mean, senseless bitch. I was depressed and felt very helpless and hopeless. I was seeing Dr. Who's at the time. He did some diagnostic and told me, "Your adrenals are not showing up." It turned out I had adrenal fatigue syndrome. Our adrenals deal with stress. When stressed, the adrenals secrete stress hormone to help us deal with stress. But if we are constantly stressed for a long time, the adrenals get tired and cannot squeeze enough juice to put out the fire. And that was my case. No wonder I felt dizzy from picking up a toy from the floor. I couldn't even handle the stress of changing body positions. Dr. Who's diagnosis came as a huge relief. Now I knew why I was feeling and behaving in certain ways. Most importantly, I was not a bitch. There was a physical imbalance behind my quick anger and sense of doom. The subsequent care and generous support from Dr. Who's and Cricket have been indelible. Dr. Who's always spent extra time sharing his knowledge in health and wisdom with me. When Cricket found out that I had lost a child, she spoke to me in a long, loving talk, all about life and spirituality. I learned that both of them were Unity members, and I appreciate their spiritual view, kindness, and loving support very much. As I had started healing, the third crisis hit. My marriage was falling apart. After years of taking care of a very sick child, my husband and I grieved very differently. We couldn't relate to each other and grew apart. He couldn't comprehend my adrenal diagnosis and accept that my irritability and pessimism was part of the illness. He was tired of dealing with my misery and having to come home to cook for us often. He wanted to move out, to have some breathing space. I remember I drove to Jonna's house, crying all the way to ask for support. By this time, we had known each other for 10 years, and she's been there for me. She listened quietly about my health challenges, my emotional pain, and the grief had weighed down, how the grief weighed down our marriage, and my fear of losing my husband. At the end, she said to me, "We can't change the other person, but we can always work on ourselves. Just work on yourself." That was such an epiphany. Just work on yourself. These 4 words forever etched in my mind. For the first time in my life, I realized that I have choices, regardless of circumstances. Even though I can't change the circumstance, I do have the choice to decide how to respond. And with that realization, I've taken back my power. Remember I said I cried all the way to Jonna's? Now I smiled all the way home. And I couldn't stop smiling for the next few months as I look inward and work on myself. I realized I had not smiled for years. I followed Jonna's guidance to give my husband the space he wanted. I was mindful of how I interacted with him and how I could intentionally change my thoughts to change my mood. I devoured the books that Jonna kept delivering to my door. I practiced affirmations and forgiveness. Even though I weighed only 103 pounds at that time, I had felt so heavy for years. But now I began to feel light in my heart and body. Even though my husband intentionally stayed away from me, my perspective of life changed from a gloomy gray to a bright, colorful view. I was still dealing with adrenal symptoms and occasionally fell back to my old patterns, but luckily, Jonna had been there for me to guide me. 10 weeks after he said that he was done with me, my husband lovingly came back. What I had done was just leave him alone. And he had been observing my change too. It was my own change catalyzed his change. And that was a powerful testimonial that change can only start with ourselves. We eventually found a way to get back to each other. And Jonna was the bridge that helped save my marriage. Crisis, again, led to opportunity for growth. 10 months later, I started offering cooking classes as a pursuit of my passion for healing through whole foods. Some of the community members here have been attending my classes. And those mini lunch break cooking lessons with Jana had now become a real deal. For the next 3 years, I offered 1 or 2 cooking classes each month and wrote 2 cookbooks. I was mostly okay if I remembered to slow down. And at Jana's invitation, I started coming to Unity around 2012 and immediately felt at home. The 4th crisis came in 2016 when I had 3 injuries within the year. First, a problematic dental procedure, and then an overseas forceful manipulation on my neck, followed by a car wreck. My adrenals were completely crushed again. For 2.5 years, I was in constant pain and numbness. I had many sleepless nights. My fatigue was so bad that I couldn't get out of bed. My adrenals were so beaten up that my hormones derailed and my blood sugar regulation was completely out of whack. I had to get up to eat in the middle of the night every hour or 2, even though my blood sugar numbers were within normal range. As a result, my belly grew up like a balloon due to a congested liver that was put to work for digestion instead of detoxifying at night. All of this forced me to drop everything in order to heal. I declined a 3rd cookbook offer. I stopped offering cooking classes. I even stopped coming to Unity. I tried many natural modalities, healing modalities. All helped, but all fell short until I stopped searching for outside solutions and started looking inward again. At that point, I had been eating organic whole foods and living a non-toxic lifestyle for years. But my fear and rigidity involved with raising my 2nd child as a result of having lost the 1st child seems unsurmountable. My grief and achy heart sensation were still there when I thought of the last moments of Vivian's life when we decided to unplug the ventilator to let her go. I was still pretty emotional and using "I've lost a child" as an excuse when family and friends questioned me, "Why are you sick all the time?" That was early 2018. More than 10 years after Vivian passed, and I was still living as a victim. So we journeyed back to Taiwan when my husband, Arthur, was on sabbatical. He was able to step up to help me. He insisted that I get out of bed. He dragged me up to the mountain trails in Taiwan. It felt like a torture initially. But after 4 months, I finally regained my energy. And with my energy back, I started working on my mindset. The teaching was already there. I had already applied that to my failing marriage. I went back to the truth, which was I have choices. Yes, I lost a child and it was devastating. But I could choose to stay in devastation or move on or thrive on the experiences. The same mentality saved my marriage and eventually resolved my grief. The achiness in my heart disappeared when I think of Vivian's final moments. I had transmuted that heavy energy into love and was able to smile again. Meanwhile, I saw clearly how I've been torturing my body with fear and resentment. I started talking to my body regularly and getting clear responses from it. I understood that all the pain and discomfort were my body's way to ask for love from me. Sure, there were outside events and incidences, but could they be the universe's way to force me to look deeper into my grief and emotions? We all know how the universe has ways to wake us up. And if we don't listen, doesn't the alarm get louder and louder? Once I started seeing things that way and surrendering to it, my healing accelerated. Last week, our speaker, Kim Blue, talked about how she shrank her 4-inch tumor into a half an inch in just 30 days by sending love to it. That's exactly what I did. 2 weeks into sending love to my body, especially my adrenals, the nocturnal hypoglycemic episode that agonized me for more than 3 years finally subsided. Looking back, I believe that going through the intense physical challenges and emotional roller coaster was the universe's way to officially induct and train me into what I've been doing casually for years, which was health coaching. I experienced what I needed to learn. By chance, I ran across the fact that Brianne Jamerson, another Unity member, had graduated from a nutrition school that offered holistic integrated nutrition. I checked it out and decided to enroll. That was 5 years ago. Now I've recovered and found myself happily answering to my life calling by helping others heal. At age 55, I feel healthier and have more energy than when I was 40. I don't have any pain. I appreciate and love myself more than any time in my life. For a huge part, I attribute the Unity teachings to my healing, as introduced by Jana. She lived as an example to me, and I'm forever indebted to her. I'm glad that after being away for 6 years, I've circled back to Unity. This time, to stay. Finally, here's a quote from one of my health mentors. We are more capable of healing than anyone has ever taught us to believe. I've seen miracles in my field, every direction I turn. Is it really a miracle, or is it the way it's supposed to be? It is my sincere hope that you find ways to reconnect the best doctor that resides within you and each one of us. We all own healing power. Trust and have faith that the body will heal if given time, opportunity, and resources. Crises, indeed, are opportunities. Finally, I wanted to take this opportunity to thank the entire team, the music team. Phillips helped pick up beautiful songs. Ginger is here. I'm so glad to see her. And the tech team to make this presentation wonderful. And I never come to the service this early. And today I've witnessed how many people are here logistically taking care of the service. I feel really grateful for it. And thank you, everyone.
Wow, wasn't that a story? Thank you, Pei. Thank you. And so now we are going to go inside within ourselves and become centered in our spirit.
Centered in the Holy Spirit of the One, centered in the Spirit of the One, centered in the Holy Spirit of the One, centered in the Spirit of the One, centered in the Holy Spirit of the One, centered in the Spirit of the One, centered in the Holy Spirit of the One, centered in the Spirit of the One, centered in the Holy Spirit of the One, centered in the Spirit of the One.
Turning now to our practice of meditation. Please allow yourself to get comfortable in your chair. Lean back. Take some deep breaths. Sitting erect. Knowing that you are always connected. Wholeness resides within you 24/7. Take a deep breath, a full breath. Inhaling, feeling into the spirit that connects us all, and exhaling deeply. It is the exhale that allows us the relaxation. Keep breathing deeply, centering within yourself, connecting with everyone in the room and all that is. With your breath, allow yourself to let go of any earthly matters, of cares, concerns. In this stillness, you are safe. You are one. Our everyday life is actually a sacred journey. You know this when you're centered inside. Breathing in and out, focusing on being with you, fully present to yourself. Now feel into your body, the vessel that allows you to be and do in the world. Love it. Appreciate it. Send kindness to the whole of you. Continue your breathing. Know that Spirit is breathing with you, through you, as you. Relax and continue breathing with this knowingness, this loving presence, this love, this wisdom, this wholeness is you. Continue breathing as pure being as we go into the silence. whole. May I please have the greeters come forward? As the greeters pass our collection bag, please feel free to add your prayer requests and the blue sheet for visitor reflections information, as well as the contributions to the bag. But first, let's acknowledge our abundance with our abundance affirmation. Together, I am an abundant being in an abundant universe. I am not dependent on people or situations for my good. God is the source of my supply. I always have something to give, and I consistently give it. I expect the best, I give my best, and I now attract the best in every experience.
I love myself so much that I can love you so much, that you can love you so much, that you can start loving me. I love myself so much that I can love you so much, that you can love you so much, that you can start loving me. I love myself so much that I can love you so much, that you can love you so much, that you can start loving me. I love myself so much that I can love you so much, that you can love you so much, that you can start loving me. One more time. I love myself so much that I can love you so much, that you can love you so much, that you can start loving me.
So will the greeters please come back up so that we can bless our offerings. So together, divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, and I am grateful. Thank you. All right, so we've got some announcements. I realized I forgot to say hello to the online family, so hello. We would love to have you in the chapel with us in the future, if that's at all possible. And here are some things that are going on here. So right after the service today, we have a community meeting. No one's leaving. You're all staying, all right? The board wants to answer questions for you, and they want to get some information from you. So let's talk, okay? So right after service. And also today, there is a Meet at the Mets, and it is a carillon concert at 2 p.m., and it's a unity meetup. And so please bring a chair, a blanket, and get together with your Unity of Bloomington friends for this music. The Drum Circle. We're meeting this Thursday, 7 o'clock in the chapel. It is a really fun time to make sound together. So if you're so inclined, it's just an hour, but it is really fun to reverberate in this space. And this Friday, we have a garden cleanup for the west side of the entrance from 9:30 to 11:30. If you can spare any time at all, we would sure love your hands. We will be adding some curb appeal there. The board meets July 24th at 5:30 in the chapel, and it is open to the community. Feel free to come and to bring your questions and concerns and your ideas. And upcoming, we have next week on the 23rd, Reverend Paul Hasselbeck by the wonderful power of Zoom. And then on the 23rd, Norm Hughes. I'm sorry, the 30th. The 30th. All right. So now we will say our prayer for protection. Together, light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. The children have joined us. Let's make a circle and sing, "Let There Be Peace on Earth."